Here's my note. Whoa, paradigm shift, class 2. Okay, where should we start? This, I think, says it all. What a paradigm shift happens in class. We talked about class 2 gray market income. Gray market income is this income that's kind of sandwiched in between steady income and passive income. It's all the stuff in the middle. And how do you make some? How do you get some of this stuff rolling for yourself? In week 2, we really talked about the importance of networks and the misnomers of networks. And we did a classroom exercise where you had to kind of look at what ways you bring wealth to other people and the ways that others bring wealth to you, and how you use resources and share. For many of you, myself included, I am constantly in review of how few forms of capital I use. That a lot of times we kind of monoculture, like farming, right? We kind of farm in a couple of different areas and we don't really pull them all together. When gray market works really well, it's when somebody's able to utilize a lot of resources. The homework that we gave you was really start looking at your network. And we gave you some at-home exercises to do, but what we concentrated on that system was, what is a network, what isn't a network, and what is the nucleus of that network. And here's what we kind of came up with of what is the purpose of a network. The purpose of a network is to feed you. That internal network of what is your, some people call it an inner circle, but what is that nucleus of who you are? That little nucleus is the hardest thing that anyone will build. I mean, there have been times when I have waited a really long time to add someone into my very inner nucleus because I hadn't found that. I hadn't found somebody who's right. That the more prosperous you become, that the more you will find it's so difficult to add somebody into that very inner layer because they really have to fit and there has to be a benefit to and fro. When you look at who's in your inner circle, a lot of people make the mistake of putting people in their inner circle because they're supposed to be there. That's not necessarily who's gonna be. The supposed to is part of the resistance I want you to let go. And go, who's really in this inner space for me? And quite honestly, you know, a lot of people put in their inner circle toxic relationships. And those toxic relationships absolutely need a couple circles down the road to give you some distance. So concept 1 we talked about is who is in that nucleus. And concept 2 that we gave you is what is the difference between a network and a platform. So if any of you, I look at my LinkedIn friends and sometimes you hear these people are like, oh, I have, you know, I'm a this on LinkedIn, or I have whatever, and they're so proud that they have this many links in their thing that they actually put it next to their name. So you'll see, you know, Jan Jacobs, who's not a real person, I made that name up, but you know, Jan Jacobs, and then you'll see 2,500 plus links. You know what? That is not a network. That is a platform. The purpose of a platform is to build something on. These are people who are looking to stand up a little higher because they have a soapbox to stand on. They've got a message to deliver and they're looking for how to market that. That is not what makes a successful individual. That may give the illusion of that, but that doesn't mean that you are fed and doing your life's work. And quite honestly, we're not here to do anything but our life's work. If you want to take anything out of this, is remember, you're building this for you. Not for me, not for Mr. Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda, right? This is yours. We're here as a group and as a leader to build something that is for you and that is perfect for you and that can take all of the resources that you've built in all these years and start pushing them together in a way that makes something magic, that makes something effortless, that makes it delicious and fun and just, yeah. So again, don't go back to the old idea of, well, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. A network is a group of people that are all working together in a really loving, profitable, sharing way. And they're all working like a mechanic to try to make it consistently work and run better. That these are people who are willing to add capital of multiple ways into the system at large or an individual in the system for the sake of it growing prosperously, just because it makes everyone grow. One of the things that I really like people to remember is we have so much to learn from organics in general. And organics meaning, what is the organic concept? What is sustainability? Building a sustainable network is a whole different mindset. I mean, you really have to check how you've been kind of clocking around here and focus in. We talked about lasering. Focus in on just the piece that's for you. And a network is living, breathing, helpful, resource adding, and the people that are in your closest network are few. They are friends. These are people that you can count on. They will go to the mat for you, and you will do the same for them 100% of the time. And those are the networks that are really hard to build. But on the other side of that, those are the networks that change the world. And you only have to give a couple of these to go, is this true? When you look at these powerful networks of people that can absolutely create change, let's look at some of the people that you have right now. Bill Gates. He came up with an idea and said to the top wealth earners around, that said, you know what, I'd like you to think about something differently. I've got this concept going. My wife and I have been working through it and putting it together, and suddenly it's changed everything. It's changed the rules on so many things in the public health format, in education, in delivery. And the other thing about that is, what I think people misunderstand about a network is, what is an infusion of a resource? What is a capital infusion? Sometimes you're giving capital that's emotional. Sometimes you're giving capital that's physical. I look at, somebody who's invested in me, help me with office space. I look at somebody who's invested in me that helped me, learn how to do stuff differently. Sometimes they gave me actual technical capital to say, hey, you should record a video. Isn't it great? Don't you love getting a video review from class? This was a very small amount of capital that had to be invested into a system. So that was concept 2 of, what is a network, and how does it work, and what is the difference between a network and a platform. The third concept that I really want you to walk away with is the one that we worked on, which is, what do you give? What are you investing in what I believe is your largest asset? And your largest asset is that network. that if you look at how much time you spend giving someone a hand up, giving them a key in, giving them an opportunity, sharing, how much time do you invest in your network? Well, the amount of time you invest in your network appropriately, it should be investing back in you. And again, look at this as an investment. If this is an investment that's not paying off for you, muerte, you know, time to cut it. It's time to just done. Cut the cord. So what will happen for many of you, you're in week 2, you just finished week 2, so we have 4 more weeks, but in this 6-week period, you will be looking at your networks, and you'll decide, quite honestly, that some of them might not fit for you. And that process of weeding through your network takes about 6 months, and that 6 months can be really painful. But there's an 18-month strategy that really is what it takes to reformulate what your network looks like and how you're using them. So if you're starting today, know that you're really on an 18-month trajectory. A lot of that work you're going to get done in your head in the next 4 weeks, and you'll start pushing it out. But this is an 18-month goal, is cleaning up your network and getting it aligned. And it's a consistent. People invest in their networks all the time. Whatever you want out of it is what you've got to put into it, because a network is a mirror image of you. That's the other key item, is that your network is an absolute mirror image of who you are. If you are energetic, dynamic, fabulous, your network should be too. But if you stopped living, have been hiding, you're kind of a grouch, and you hate the world around you, I'm willing to bet your network is filled with some people that you probably don't want to spend the rest of your life with. Or those people are tired and they're not willing to give. You know, again, you would be surprised how many people are sleeping through their own life. And that's not what we're here to do. The 5th concept, is it the 4th or the 5th? Let's put them together, 4, 5. The next concept, which is the final one we left you with, is really starting to build on the 5-star model. Now the 5-star model is what you will be spending the next 4 weeks with. The goal is to create a map of who is your network, who's in there, what can you build on, and what are the skills that you can bring to that network in the easiest, fastest way. And can you turn it around into something that can start sending you some capital? And most of you are looking for monetary capital. So is there a class you can teach? Is there a service that you can offer? Is there consulting that you can do? Out of the hundreds, now probably thousands, probably of the thousands of people that have taken this class, here's the good news. Nobody, 100%, no one has not left with a new idea. So even if this is feeling foggy in week 2, by week 6, you will have something that is there and you will understand it, of what's a new way to bring in the capital that you want. And we do that by really exploring the 5-star model. The 5-star is a star. It has 5 little armies on it, and that star is really indicative of who are you. The other concept of the 5-star model is that you need to stop chasing money and start attracting money. So we really have to go into diverse places and start attracting the money that you really need. One of those is to look at the 2 bottom feet as the foundation. What is it that built you? If your foundation is, so I'll give you one, somebody else who took this class a long time ago, their foundation was in food service. So, you know, that's where they put in one of their stars, was food service industry. Another one that took this class, their entire network that they had built the previous to that class was in, what's the word I'm thinking of? Graphic design. So they had this huge graphic design space, and they didn't want to do graphic design anymore. The second piece, even though those pieces are not things that you might be working in currently, it doesn't mean they're not part of your foundation, or that you don't have skills in them, or you don't have contacts in them. I would go back and look at what are those things that were built in your foundation. The second thing are the two legs of the stars that we really call kind of the Inktomi spiders, right? What's your reach? What's your natural reach today? Who is it that is in your everyday grasp that you can pull towards you as a resource? So that may be whatever industry you're in currently, it may be the types of groups you're hanging out with, it may be word of mouth. But again, look at these key items that some of you are working in now. This may be healthcare that you're working in now. It may be private services, like consulting, things like that. And then the head of that star is really where you're going to in the future. And one of those things is that it's looking towards what is coming. Where do you need to go? How do you build upward and build in a way that you can start attracting the things of where you're going to in the current system? So some of you that might be an industry that has not been available until now. It may be just a whole new approach. The awesome thing about living in the technology age is that what was hot in the 80s goes 10 times faster now, or it's gone, right? And I only have to give you the example of a four-letter word that I loved, and it was called Pong, P-O-N-G, Pong. Who didn't love Pong? It was amazing. Atari had changed the world. Guess what, folks? I couldn't pay a teenage kid this day to play Pong all night long, like perhaps some of us did in the 80s. No names. So, again, going back to the concept of maybe some of the things that you're growing to hadn't been invented yet. Pull all those ideas forward. So your homework was really to look at who's in your network, who's going to be in this internal, very close space that you're willing to work as hard for them as they're willing to work hard for you. Who is in your next set of network of people that you love and people that maybe aren't being very helpful. Give them the space that they need to be further away from you, and clear out some room for the people who should be closer to you, and find ways to work with them. The other piece of homework that I have for you is, again, working on this resistance piece. Every time you see yourself looking at any of the equations from class and you see yourself getting tight, or feeling like you're in the wrong place, or just kind of feeling annoyed, take a step out. Take a minute and just ask yourself, what is this resistance about? Because that is absolutely the killer of trying to map out a new strategy. Is what is the resistance that you're carrying from all the past garbage? And letting go of that resistance is crucial to you finding a new path, and a new path that's totally about you. So again, you and me, we're here. I will see you in class 3. We'll be working all the next 4 weeks on that 5-star model, understanding what are the areas that you're going to work in, and how are you going to attract the wealth that you need and the resources that you have. And remember, your network is your net worth. So decide who is worth being in your network. All right, we're here. I'll see you next time. Bye.